Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we break down all the goals scored in the Premier League. Today we're doing Wolverhampton Wanderers against Manchester City. And if you haven't followed my channel before, you know how to use the internet. I'm not going to tell you about that, but there's a whole bunch of audio books and voice acting I've done in the links in the description below if you're interested in any of that nonsense. But right now we're going to talk a little bit about Wolves, and there's such a VAR debate, and I'm going to start bringing it up more and more because if you haven't seen my VAR is going to make the Super League happen video, go back and watch that, because I'm telling you now, when I did that, I was right then, and I'm going to be right as this moves forward. VAR is ruining the game, and we're going to talk about that final goal and the implications of what VAR is really doing and how it's changing these on-field stuff. And it's very important because people are happy if the ref is wrong. What people are not happy with, if the ref is wrong and then he gets checked and then they do it wrong again. Because if you've just, the ref's made a bad decision, you can deal with that. But then when it's looked at by a bunch of experts and then it becomes controversial, sometimes you just go, let's just not get involved in that decision. The on-field decision is this. It can be 50-50. And remember what the clear wording is. It's clear and obvious error. And that's what VAR is not getting involved in. It doesn't get involved in clear and obvious errors. It gets in dubious things that could be 50-50. People will agree and disagree. That's not what it's supposed to be about. And that's what it's getting involved in. So when you don't have clear and obvious errors, now it's sticking its nose in. And also, Wolves are that team that everyone needs to start really looking at, because they've had more VAR decisions go against them than anyone else in the Premier League. I actually think that there's something in the range. If I say 25 decisions, it's going to be 44. So it's a huge amount of decisions that have gone against Wolves. I can remember Nana battering the Wolves goalkeeper at the end of the game that should have been a penalty that wasn't at the beginning of last season. I think it was the first game of the season. There's so many that go against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and you can understand why someone like Nottingham Forest have employed an ex-referee to fight their case, because on the field there's so many bad decisions for them. If you've got Manchester City fighting the Premier League about all their bad decisions and their charges off the field, it's nothing compared to the decisions that are on the field for the likes of Wolves and Nottingham Forest. Yeah, we count on the big ones when, was it Doku 2-foot challenge, no, it wasn't 2-foot, challenge McAllister in the box, but there's so many decisions to talk about. But right now, let's just talk about the shape and structure here of Wolves. I do like the wide player here, absolutely perfect. But this is the problem here. You can spot it straight away that the right back's gone too far, and he doesn't have the pace to either catch up or isn't aware that this guy, right, that does make a difference. That is, if you want to become a good defender, that's the difference maker right there. You need to be back when you can't go forward and try to put pressure on when there's a player behind you in your space, unless you're Kyle Walker and you've got lots of pace and you can recover. So when this ball goes wide, it doesn't really look that dangerous, but it is the quality of the ball that this guy puts in that absolutely tears the Man City defence apart. I'm going to show you the quality of that and why that's so important. And this is why starting position is important, because if you look to the halfway line that I just highlighted, you can see they're in the exact same position now, and he's got all the time and space in the world. But look where the ball is played, and it's this whipped ball in behind here. It's just so inviting to tap into the goal. Can the keeper come for it? No. It's got a little bit of bend on it to get around the defenders, and it's perfectly aligned right to tap in on the back post. And it all comes down to the right back here just not being good enough. He should have really shut this danger out. This shouldn't have been a goal, but it is. Let's just click this a little bit. 1, 2, there we go. You can see now, look at the space there. That's where he's playing the ball from before it starts to get whipped in. And we're going to draw the trajectory just a little bit here. Look at this ball. It goes all the way around for him to tap it into the goal. Actually, it's probably about there, actually. It's just quality. Absolute quality. Oh, no, I'm about right. And it's easy there for a tap-in. Again, but look at the defender's position. It's the exact same it was on the halfway line because his starting position isn't right. That's one of the most important things you can do in your shape, is if you have your starting position correct, you don't need to recover. You don't need to rely on your physical attributes to recover if you're set properly in the first place. He wasn't, didn't do it. And then again, I'm just going to highlight this there's a couple of little clips I'm going to highlight just to show you from poor play here. But Wolves, you can see, look at that gap. Can you see that massive space? So Man City are playing for these areas. They're playing for these half spaces. They're trying to get you overloaded and committed onto one side, switch the play quickly, and then try to open up that gap there. Or, if that gap's available, get it into that half space as quickly as they can. You can just turn and finish. Now, if this guy's touch is a little bit better, it's probably going to be well, it was a half decent shot on goal and the keeper had to make a save, but it would have been even easier if he had a decent first touch on him. He just got caught underneath the ball. But the Wolves defensive midfielder here, even though he's not a defensive midfielder, which he really should be, he actually snuffs it out quite well and realises that there is a problem, and you can see he's reading it, which I've got to give him credit for. He's trying to get across. And because of the pressure from the Wolves player, this should have been a touch out of his foot right there. Bomb. Out of his foot. Bomb. And then slotting it anywhere in the goal he wanted. But he doesn't, because he knows this guy's coming. A little bit of pressure. He has a little bit of a panic turn. Gets away with it. And then he's trying for a finish. And the keeper ends up making a good save. But that shouldn't have happened. That space is massive. Wolves shouldn't have allowed that to happen. But they've got 1, 2, 3 players pressuring one ball. And they didn't really cover that space properly. There's one more little defensive error I want to show you from Wolves. And then we'll get onto the goals. Good old cash fashion. We got it backwards. We show the Man City goal first, and then I'm going to show you that little defensive error I'm talking about. Right, so we know that this is the area that they want to get pressured on here. We cannot have a man stood at the edge of the box not being pressured. We've got 2 players doing nothing. Okay, this happens quite a lot. It's common in football where they just don't know what they're doing. And you go, oh, Cash, the Premier League footballers, no, they don't know what they're doing. So this is what happens, and you can take it into any role and responsibility in life. When you've got to do a job, you do the job. When you've got the job to do and somebody else is doing the same job as you, you both become lazy and think that the other person is going to do the job. Whatever you're doing, well, I can slack off a bit because I can blame him, and he can slack off a bit because he can blame me. Happens all the time, happens more in football than you can imagine. This is one of those examples. Neither of these 2 players are pressuring the football here. They're just stood there. They're not doing anything. What they are doing is leaving this space open here. First off, he's way too close to him. How many footballs are there? 1. How many players are there? 2. Not needed then. 1 football, 1 player, 1 player. You can do that. The other player needs to come off just a little bit. So when this pass happens, he can pressure it. He doesn't get anywhere near to pressuring the ball because 1, 2 players are completely taken out from a simple pass. This guy here is ball watching. He's not thinking about this guy's going to blast it into the top corner, which he does. You're playing against Man City, probably the best team on earth right now. And you cannot let someone be unpressured outside the 18-yard box to take a touch, find his spot, and then beat your keeper from there. Because they will. Right? And you've got the people there. They're just not doing their job properly. You could have just left him 1v1. Come back here a little bit. What's he going to do? Run you down the line? Okay, you've been dealing with that all game. Just deal with it one more time. Doesn't. This guy just... Honestly, it's a worldy shot, though. Takes a little touch and fires it into the net box. Quality goal. Absolute quality. But just comes down from Wolves not pressuring the ball for that split second there. And Wolves got robbed today. Absolutely robbed. Again, this is what I'm talking about. 2 players trying to win 1 football right here. So what ends up happening is they both get in each other's way. That's not the mistake I want to show you. It's right here. Do you see that guy right there? He's got the ball. He's got it on his left foot. He can see what's in front of him. He can see that there's 2 players here. Right? And this is a defensive mistake. The keeper ends up having to pull off a great save. I'm not going to show the keeper's great save. Keeper, you did a good job. But yeah, I'm not interested in that. You did what you were supposed to do. But it's this mistake here. Watch this. When he turns and got the ball at his feet, just put it out. Just put it out. The problem with defenders of trying to play the ball all the time and pass it around is they get into this routine of when they win the ball, turn back to pass it to the goalkeeper or to the centre back to keep the ball in possession. He's just done it inside the 18-yard box. He ends up losing the ball, and they go and and have a shot. I think one of these 2 guys here. They shift the ball quite nicely, and the keeper has to pull off a wonderful save instead of him just putting the ball out. It sounds silly, but the other time he could have done it was when he was just facing this way a second ago, and he could have just tried to smash the ball away, and he's not looking to play this player because he wants to put it up in the air over the danger and try to get rid of it. Just absolutely get rid of it, high and wide over here and away from his 18-yard box, or just get it out. He does neither of those things. Gets himself in trouble, gets caught on the ball. Another Man City player ends up picking up the ball inside the box. Don't worry, there's 2 players marking him. Again, not doing anything because you've got 2 players doing 1 job. Ends up pinging backwards and forwards and dropping over to here. When you've got the chance to clear the ball, you clear it. Yeah, you want to keep possession. And by the way, I'll be yelling at you for clearing the ball. We're not trying to keep possession afterwards, but that's not the issue. You can say, hey, coach, they didn't get a shot off on goal. I did my job. Now we're going to go defend this corner. All right, mate, good job. But let's get on to the controversial part, shall we? Actually, let me just show you the shot because it's a decent save from the keeper. So look at how many Wolves players are pressuring. Good job, good job. But they could have just got rid of it earlier. Pressuring the ball, snapshot, keeper goes down and makes a save. Yeah, but shouldn't have had to if the defender did his job properly in the first place. So here's the problem. No, he's not in an offside position because the corner kick's been taken, but he's fouling the goalkeeper. If I'm backing into you as a goal to the goalkeeper and the goalkeeper's got to move me away from you, there's a foul there. All right, that is a foul. Is he offside? Yeah, he's also offside because as soon as the ball's moved, the second point of contact is here. So let's just think about it. Point 1, that's what we're going to call him here. Point 2, point 3. When that ball comes across and hits point 2, this guy here, we're going to call him X, evil X. He is now offside, and now there's a problem. Okay? That's the problem. You cannot say that he's not interfering with play when he stood in front of the goalkeeper. If he's ducking, he's still interfering with play. How do we know this? Because the same thing Wolves happened against them. I think it was Fulham last season, and they had a goal chalked off because they were told that they were interfering with the goalkeeper. And this is the problem with VAR. You did that last time, but now this time, oh, it's Man City, and we've got to pay them back for the... It gets so complicated. Al Jazeera were fined for streaming the Premier League, and now we've got to let them win the Premier League a certain amount of times to get the money back of the 2.8 billion that they fined them. Yeah, it gets really dirty when you actually know what's going on behind all the football nonsense. So here's the point of contact. There it is. The goalkeeper is still just finished battling with this guy, and it goes into the net box. Here's the problem, though. What everyone does is free frames this. Well, if you free frame that and you look at it, where's the keeper's line of sight? Okay, line of sight's there. But I'm telling you right now, if someone crouches down in front of you, that is still taking your attention. Just because you can see the ball, it doesn't mean that this guy isn't actually interfering with play. Oh, he's got a clear line of the ball. At what point? Because he's still focused on this guy here. He's just shoved him. Like, if you shoved me, you'd be worried if I was going to jump back up or do anything towards you. You just don't know. And that's the problem. He's offside now as well, by the way, because the ball's played. So as that ball's played, offside, that's the right decision on the field. That's exactly what it should be. The moment this goes in, though, I have a huge problem because the referee does make it as an offside decision because the linesman's flag goes up. Here we go. Goes in. He's sitting there. He's waiting. Oh, don't show it. Of course they don't show it. That's one of the other things I'm noticing. They're cutting out so much on the highlights, certain things that you don't want to see. They also do it when you're watching live. Here's the clue to that. If they don't replay something when you're watching the game live, chances are it's a foul or a penalty and they don't want to show you because VAR should have spotted it. That's generally a rule of thumb and you'll be right probably 70% of the time. But here's the thing. If the on-field decision is offside here and it's controversial like this and it's not clear and obvious, stay out of it, VAR, because you ruin our game of football. And what you're going to do, pretty soon the Premier League will be playing overseas games to get better referees. And the next thing, the overseas games with VAR, will do all of this without you. It's going to be called the Super League. It's going to slowly make it switch. You just watch the next couple of years and watch how the narrative changes. Other than that, I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.